we learned that the Yankees are going to be starting, of all people, Luis Severino, the 19-game winner for the New York Yankees. That is right. Luis Severino is going to be taking the mound. A lot of Yankee fans were hoping for Happ to get the call or Tanaka. The Yankee fans, as much as they love Severino, they don't trust Severino because of the second half that he has had this year all over the place. Two different pitchers. One in the guy in the first half of the season versus the guy in the second half of the season. Two completely people in Luis Severino. They just don't know what they're going to get. But Boone has made the decision. They're going to go. Severino's going to start tomorrow at Yankee Stadium against the Oakland A's. He also said, I believe, that they are going to go with who is catching there. I believe Sanchez is going to be catching him as well tomorrow. I think they already had said that instead of Austin Romine. So it's when he's on Severino, very hard to hit. It's going to be very difficult for the Oakland A's. However, you just don't know what you're going to get with Luis Severino. It would be a great situation for the Yankees if they can get 5 or 6 out of him. We know what that bullpen is. It's going to be a very, very electric atmosphere in New York tomorrow for this A's-Yankees wild card win and you are in situation. I'm looking forward to it. Tonight is going to be fun to watch. Tomorrow is going to be even more fun to watch. But I know there are a lot of Yankee fans who are not sleeping well tonight, knowing that Luis Severino is the guy that is going to take the mound and a guy that had a hard time keeping the ball in the park in Yankee Stadium. J.A. Happ was certainly my choice because J.A. Happ is a guy that historically has pitched and dominated in Yankee Stadium, and J.A. Happ doesn't usually watch the ball leave the ballpark. He's a guy that'll keep the ball down. He's a guy that you'll get a lot of ground balls, some fly balls, but he is not prone to the long ball, not like Severino has been or Hideki either, and that's also been a bit of a problem for them this year. But baseball's here, guys. It's going to be fun to watch. I can tell you that right now. All right. Also, last night, I want to talk about Patrick Mahomes real quick if we can, because we seem to have anointed him the greatest quarterback to ever play the game ever through 6 starts. Now, I will admit what this kid has done over the very short time that he has been in the league is pretty amazing. We watched a tale of 2 tapes there last night. Denver, I don't understand Denver. Vance Joseph, I don't think he's going to last in Denver as the head coach. I think he's completely out of his mind. Everything that you did well in the first half of that game, you pretty much abandoned in the second half of that game. So congratulations. You went away from the run game. Royce Freeman didn't nearly get as many touches as he did in the first half. And it was only a matter of time watching that game before you realized that Patrick Mahomes and the weapons that they have on the Kansas City Chiefs, they were going to make some damage. And Travis Kelce had made it through the third quarter without having a catch. A couple of drops, a couple of overthrows. You just knew Kelce was going to get started. You knew Hunt was going to get going with the running game. And sure enough, they lost Sammy Watkins early on with a hamstring injury, which really made it important to get Travis Kelce involved in the game, but the fourth quarter was just a different animal altogether. Patrick Mahomes threw for 304 yards. 77 of those 300 came on the last winning drive in the fourth quarter. A lot of people wanted to see, okay, your first 3 games, Kansas City, you were so far ahead so early, you kind of coasted, and this was your first true test on the road, hostile environment in Mile High. Could you get punched in the mouth, and could you respond? And I think we got the answer now. Hunt had 121 on the ground. He also had 54 receiving yards. The Chiefs have totaled actually 446 in the game, but they have now topped 440 yards of total offense for 3 straight times against the Broncos since 2013. No other team in the NFL has ever topped the 440-yard mark one time against Denver in that span. So this is an electric, high-octane Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. This is a lot of fun to watch as it unfolds. Young quarterback, and I guess we want so bad for these young quarterbacks to be relevant because it is a quarterback league, and we all know that. But we all realize that Aaron Rodgers, not the same guy. He's already playing hurt, and he's already bitching and moaning, pointing fingers at Mike McCarthy. Tom Brady's not going to be here very much. We've already got Peyton gone. So the NFL is kind of in that period where they need the youth, the quarterback youth, to start to rise above it. All right. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with a bunch of mediocre Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryans, Derek Carrs, and that's no way to run a league. And that's not really exciting for the fans. So they are looking for one of these young guns to be able to step up and really become the face of what the NFL is going to be for the next 10 to 15 years. And I think they're in pretty damn good hands with Patrick Mahomes. But you've got to keep in mind here, guys, that Patrick Mahomes, the reason Patrick Mahomes is doing what he's doing is because of Andy Reid. If Patrick Mahomes didn't have Andy Reid, if he had, let's say, Todd Bowles, I promise you, we would not be having the same conversation today like we are about this kid, because we know what this league is all about. This league is about coaching, and the better the coaching, the better chance your quarterback of being successful. Jeff Fisher, what did he do with Jared Goff? Well, I think we know what he did. He didn't do a damn thing with him. You bring in Sean McVay, you bring in an offensive-minded head coach, and voila, look at that. Jared Goff is one of the best and brightest that we have in the NFL. Andy Reid maneuvered, juggled, did what he had to do to be able to go up and get this kid in the draft. He knew what he wanted, and Andy Reid is one of the best when it comes to developing quarterbacks in the league. And if you are a franchise right now, like the Jets, with a defensive-minded head coach in Todd Bowles, or if you are the Buffalo Bills in their new coach, Todd McDermott, you guys are going to be in for there's going to be a problem. There's already been precedent set for what you do when you have defensive-minded head coaches and you go up and you spend high draft picks on what should be your future, and that being your quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years. Sam Darnold, number 3 pick, you went up and get him. There is no way Todd Bowles survives the end of this year. I'm telling you, mark it down right now. I can tell you there is no way that Todd Bowles will survive the end of this year. The writing is already on the wall. We've already seen it happen in what they did in L.A. with Jared Goff. Nobody thought Jared Goff could play. Well, nobody thought he could play with Jeff Fisher as the head coach, but now everybody is foaming at the mouth with how excited they are when he's under Sean McVay. And that's the reality of it right now. Patrick Mahomes is only Patrick Mahomes right now because of Andy Reid. And owners know this. Management knows this. So if you are a defensive-minded head coach in the NFL, yeah, your days are numbered. Why in the world would you want to? Why would you want to go out and get a defensive head coach? And I can tell you the same thing's going to happen in Arizona. The best thing that maybe Josh Rosen's got going for him is he plays in Arizona. There are no expectations, and nobody's really talking. But for his first NFL start, the kid was remarkably good for what he's dealing with that offensive line, and with a Steve Wilks, who, again, I even had to look it up, defensive-minded coach, defensive coordinator with the Carolina Panthers, came over. That's not going to work. Not when you have a young rookie quarterback who's got a lot of potential. Josh Rosen's got a lot of potential as you guys watch him. He's got no offensive line. He's got absolutely no. Well, he's got some weapons in David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald, but with a bad offensive line, then you're looking at what's happening with the kid Allen in Buffalo. He's never going to survive either. That kid is going to get destroyed here. I know there were some comparisons all over social media about how the Bills could have gotten Patrick Mahomes. They traded away their picks so Kansas City could come up. Listen, you've got yourself a potential long-term starting franchise quarterback, but he will never be that with a defensive-minded head coach leading the charge. And that is going to be the MO over the next couple of years. These organizations and these franchises with these young quarterbacks, there are going to be some changes, and it's going to be with the head coach. Todd Bowles, bye-bye. Sean McDermott, Bye-bye. Thanks for hanging out in Buffalo. And Steve Wilkes, best of luck to you. If you last 2 years, I'll be amazed in Arizona. You two will be bye-bye. When you look at Mitchell Trubisky and what he did, I'm not necessarily sold on Trubisky. Yes, he threw 107 touchdown passes against Tampa. I do like the coach. I think Nagy is another one of these young offensive-minded guys that Trubisky he is better off with than anybody else. I do think he's got a ton of potential. I'm not necessarily sold on him yet. I am sold on Patrick Mahomes, but I'm only sold on Patrick Mahomes because he's with Andy Reid. So we've seen this. We've seen this before. There are only a handful of transcendent kind of guys that it doesn't make a difference who your coach is. Guys like Tom Brady, although that remains to be seen. I still think Tom Brady is as successful as he has been because of the guy that has been coaching him his entire career. But the Peyton Mannings of the world, I mean, you have a coach. Those guys, Drew Brees, even Drew Brees. Drew Brees is going to end up, throwing for 200-plus yards this next game. He's going to pass far for the all-time leader, or Peyton Manning for the all-time leader in yardage. And Drew Brees, listen, Drew Brees wasn't necessarily as successful as he has been with Sean Payton as his head coach. So the writing is on the wall in the NFL. There is no way you can have young quarterbacks that you went out of your way, that you gave up to go and get in the draft. There is no way that you can prime these guys to be ready to be showtime without having an offensive-minded head coach who is willing to do what he has to do to be able to groom the kid. And Todd Bowles, Sean McDermott, Steve, that you're just not. It's not going to work. And I can promise you it's not going to continue to work. And we'll see what happens here moving forward. But Patrick Mahomes right now is the real deal. And the NFL is starving for one of these young guys to step it up and to become the face of the franchise. And by the way, thank you very much, Jeffrey. Jeffrey bringing up Carson Wentz. Let's face it, Carson Wentz hit the jackpot with Doug Peterson. We know this. Jackpot. And not saying that the coach is always the answer, because there are some bad offensive-minded head coaches. But when you have young guys like Jared Goff and Carson Wentz and Mitchell Trubisky, you've got a problem. You've got a problem if it's a defensive-minded head coach, and you're not going to win a lot of games, and you're certainly not going to prep them. And it's just been, that's what we've learned over the last 10 years. The offensive-minded head coaches, that's where this league is going. It's not about defense anymore, and it's certainly not about having a defensive-minded head coach lead the organization. That is a recipe for disaster.
Get ready to talk sports. It's the Say It With Me podcast. Now, here's your host, Joe Raineri.
Welcome back in. Happy Tuesday to you. Major League Baseball wild card tonight. Cubs hosting the Colorado Rockies. 8:05 first pitch. Yankees getting ready for tomorrow night at home in the Bronx. Hosting those damn pesky Oakland A's. They just won't go away. What a year it has been. Billy Beane, Moneyball. You think that guy don't know what he's doing? You think that guy doesn't have a clue on how to build teams? You don't buy analytics? Your ass. All right, Billy Beane. The Oakland A's are living proof that analytics works. That is why every manager that you see, that's why Mike Scioscia has stepped down. That is why Paul Molitor was relieved earlier today from the Minnesota Twins. Paul Molitor. Could you imagine wanting to get rid of Paul Molitor as a baseball manager for your organization? Now, he is such a legend there that they actually offered him some sort of executive position. They weren't going to throw him out. But Paul Molitor, Mike Scioscia, this generation of, analytics, schmanalytics, who the hell needs it? I know better. I've played this game, 100 years. I've been, that same attitude. Yeah, it don't work anymore. And Mike Scioscia has been notorious about trying to battle the whole these 30-some-odd-year-old mathematicians coming out of MIT and Harvard that are becoming general managers in baseball who have never picked up a ball, couldn't throw it more than 3 yards. But you know what? They know how to data input, and they know how to put it out. They know how to use the analytics and the mathematics of baseball now. And those are the guys that are making the lineups. Those are the guys that are making the decisions on who plays and who doesn't and who gets drafted and who gets traded for. And you either get on board with that or you will not be managing in Major League Baseball. It happened to Don Mattingly when he was with the Dodgers. That was all Don Mattingly did, and it was very well documented that Mattingly was one of these guys that was like, okay, who's playing tonight? I don't know. I'm waiting for the lineup from upstairs, and we're seeing more and more of that, and that's what baseball has become. It's become all about analytics, and Billy Beane has been at the forefront of this from the beginning. If you guys haven't seen Moneyball, what the hell are you waiting for? Probably one of the best baseball movies of all time. And it'll give you a really good idea of what they are doing in Oakland. And there is a reason why the Oakland A's are competitive right now with a whole bunch of guys that not one of you can name 2 guys on the Oakland A's that are going to be in that starting lineup or who are in the bullpen or pitchers. You don't know them. Nobody knows them. Hell, their own families don't even know them. And certainly people in Oakland don't know them. But the bottom line is they're here, aren't they? They are getting ready to advance to possibly take on the Boston Red Sox in a division matchup there. I think Friday that starts, but they got to get past the Yankees first. But kudos to Billy Beane, who's been doing it a long, long time, and he has kind of changed the way baseball operates. If this was 10 years ago, no way in hell would guys like Paul Molitor and Scioscia, would they be out of a job right now. The game has changed, and it's become all about math and analytics, and if you don't like it, you don't have to work in baseball anymore. You can sit back and be the guy in the lawn chair telling those little pesky little bastards to get off your front lawn over there. Jeremy saying Don could be fired from the Marlins and JT Realmuto will be traded. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. But again, Mattingly, I think, made peace with the whole idea of the analytics and the way baseball is run now. And the Marlins are not going to be any different. Derek Jeter's not going to be any different. They're not going to flip the script and become old-school baseball people at the Marlins. They've got a plan, and that plan is going to look very similar to what Billy Beane has done out in Oakland. They are going to draft certain guys that fit into their analytical system. They're going to trade for certain guys that fit into their analytical system. And I feel bad for Marlin fans, here in Miami, because they're looking at what Stanton's done this year with the Yankees. They're looking at what Christian Yelich has done, Marcell Ozuna with the Cardinals. They're all the guys they ended up getting rid of, the kinds of years that they had this year. And Marlin fans are going, there's no reason why we couldn't have been competing against the Atlanta Braves in the East for a championship, but it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen, especially, Peter, good to see you, man. It was never going to happen, in this day and age of baseball with new ownership coming in and doing those types of things. It just was never, ever, ever going to happen. But if you guys haven't seen it, if you're just joining us, the baseball tonight, this is the Major League Baseball preview. This is kind of the hype video that they've got going on for the games tonight, and it's so cool. It's so not what we would expect of Major League Baseball, because they actually promote everything that every old-time baseball purist hates: bat flips and high fives and screaming and showboating. Everything that Major League Baseball has tried to shy away from, the unwritten rules of baseball, is represented in this hype video that they have going on. So let me see if I can take a look at this and watch, and you tell me if you're not excited to watch baseball tonight.
They said rules are rules. Don't stop and stare.
Toss that bat 30 feet into the air.
Don't flip your bat. Respect the jersey. He didn't earn that right. They called him unprofessional. No celebrating. Keep your head down. Flashy, immature, showboat. They said it all.
You don't have to do that. Get a little tired of it. It's something you do not do in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
No more talk. Let the kids play.
Look at the kid.
It's just a new world.
I mean, good Christ. Tell me that you're not excited to watch baseball tonight. I don't care if you didn't watch a damn game all year. That is everything baseball should be. That is everything we've been screaming for baseball to be. The fun stuff, to celebrate, to not these unwritten rules that are 100 years old that nobody cares about anymore. If you want baseball to survive and to thrive in the next generation, you need more of that. So I'm very proud of Major League Baseball for actually promoting and pushing and hyping that kind of video right now on social media, getting ready for tonight's wild card matchup in the National League, Cubs hosting the Colorado Rockies at 8 o'clock. So I was pretty damn impressed with that Major League Baseball is telling Goose Gossage and others to just sit in your lawn. You can yell at the kids coming across your lawn, get off my lawn, you little bastards, but that is what you definitely need more of. There is, and Peter, yeah, always good to see you, Peter. Thank you very much. And this still is not working for me, and I apologize that I keep hitting a button and it's not working. So you know what? I'm not going to hit that button anymore, but I am going to say hello to Peter, who joins us via Facebook Live. Peter, always good to see you. Also, Jeffrey over there on YouTube, nice to see you. Cat25, pleasure to have you here on a Tuesday. And I got to tell you, did you guys see what happened during the Ryder Cup there and the American team, who it could not get any worse than what it was for the Americans there? You want to talk about total dysfunction. You think Thanksgiving dinners are bad at your house when you've got, the crazy uncle and the lunatic aunt, when, family members that there's a reason why you don't see them more than once or twice a year all show up under the same roof? Yeah, that's kind of what happened at the Ryder Cup, is what appears to be going on. First, there was the story that broke about this poor woman who was at the Ryder Cup and ended up getting hit in the face with a drive from Brooks Koepka off the tee. And it ended up, and I want to make sure that I have the terminology here correct, because it's actually terrible. It turns out that the woman's eyeball exploded. That's what they're saying. The woman's eyeball exploded, so she's actually gone blind, and now she's looking at suing everybody. The golf course, the Ryder Cup, the association, everybody. Here is what happened off the tee. And anybody that's been to a golf tournament, what you guys will know is that on the back of the ticket is pretty much enter at your own risk. And as long as these golfers yell "4" ahead of time when they hit their ball, then if the ball does crack your head open, it's not really, you're there on your own. It's kind of enter at your own risk. And that's kind of what happened. And this was the tee shot from Brooks Koepka that ended up hitting this poor woman and exploding her eyeball.
Is Koepka now? He's already hit his tee shot. He's just up by the green, but not on the green. We know this thing's got the power. Pulled it. Oh, hit someone in the gallery. Hit someone on the knee, and that'll be an easy chip. Lots of.
Yeah, no, it didn't hit somebody in the knee. It hit her right in the face and then hit it in her eyeball. And now the woman is blind. And what they're saying is that not only did she lose her sight, but they're saying they broke the orbital socket. I mean, it was just the worst. Not a good situation for anybody involved. But unfortunately, don't think there's going to be much of a leg to stand on here in a lawsuit, given the fact that I go to the Honda Classic every year in South Florida in West Palm Beach, and it's clear on the back of those tickets that it says the minute that you enter into the grounds, you are pretty much do so at your own free will and at your own behest. And, if you end up getting knocked out by a, line drive or a wayward T-word shot, oh, wow, there's really nobody to blame but yourself. And that's the sad part about this, is that I'm sure the golfing world is going to do something for this woman. Brooks Koepka has already reached out to her. He posted something on social media that his thoughts are with this woman and the family. He was very shaken up when it had happened at the Ryder Cup, but man, having an eyeball explode off of a wayward tee shot is not good. Not a great situation at all, but I don't know how she's going to do with a lawsuit. And then we've got the other shenanigans going on with the team and finger-pointing with Patrick Reed and Jordan Spieth, and now we understand that not only is Brooks Koepka smashing people in the face with line drive tee shots or errant tee shots, but he also fought Dustin Johnson in the European team's locker room once the tournament was over. These two guys were apparently invited into the locker room where they had to be separated, and a lot of people were very shaken up by it because these are two big dudes. They're also two very good friends who work out up in Jupiter, Florida together. They go to the same clinic there. They have the same trainers. They're very good friends, but something happened after the Ryder Cup where they had to be forcibly removed from going to blows together. Now, personally, I'll take Brooks Koepka. You see the size of that dude? That dude's a beast. Not that Dustin Johnson's a small guy at 6'4", 6'5". He's a big dude, too. But Brooks Koepka is, that dude could play middle linebacker with the Baltimore Ravens. He is a beast, all right? He is an absolute beast. But the report is, I guess, that it had something to do, and this is going to be a shocker, but it might have had something to do with Paulina Gretzky. That would be Dustin Johnson's fiancée or wife. I'm not sure. It's one or the other there, but it had something to do with the girlfriends. What a shock. You got two guys, really good friends, about to beat the living crap out of each other after the Ryder Cup, not because they sucked, but more because the fact that something happened with the girlfriends and that almost caused them to go to blows. So this is a story that will evolve over the week. I am sure we'll get to figure out exactly what that was all about. But then Patrick Reed, we know that he came out, did an article with the New York Times, and talked about how he was paired and benched with Tiger Woods, and he wasn't happy about it. He told the New York Times that he was clearly miffed as to why he wasn't paired with Jordan Spieth like he was a couple of years ago in the Ryder Cup, and those two were unbeatable that year when they had been paired together. He told the New York Times, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they would have paired me with Tiger Woods. Jordan Spieth didn't want to play with me. He wanted to play with his buddy Justin Thomas. Well, he also said, I don't think for somebody who has as much experience and success in the Ryder Cup, he said, I don't think it was very smart for those guys to sit me twice. A non-player member of the United States team has apparently told the New York Post that Patrick Reed is full of crap, okay? And he said that he wasn't blindsided by any of the decisions. He said that Patrick Reed rather, begged to play with Tiger Woods. Begged them to play with Tiger Woods. That this whole thing of him having no idea of why Jordan Spieth didn't want to play with him is complete crap. And now you've got Patrick Reed's girlfriend, she's also pretty fiery. She's blasting everybody and anybody on social media who's saying anything derogatory about him. It is a nightmare when I tell you a nightmare. So you've got Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka fighting in the European locker room afterwards. You've got Jordan Reed throwing, Patrick Reed rather. I don't know why I keep calling him Jordan Reed. You got Patrick Reed throwing bombs at anybody and everybody, that it's everyone else's fault but his own. And you've got other people going on record going, he's so full of crap. He asked and begged to play with Tiger Woods, and that's exactly what he got. So when I tell you total dysfunction, if you think your family dinners are an issue at Thanksgiving, that is nothing compared to what happened with this Ryder Cup team. It's absolutely hysterical. So keep that in mind as we move forward here. A bunch of just privileged, golfers who can't seem to get along. Unbelievable. Jeremy, what do you got? What do you think Golden State will win the 4th NBA title? Yeah, well, it won't be the Lakers, I can tell you that. It definitely will not be the Lakers, and I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to get used to watching LeBron James. What the hell's his name? LeBron James. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get used to watching him in a gold uniform. I don't know. The whole thing is a little weird. It's going to take a little time to get used to, but I know he also has a one of those. I guess his production company has put together a show that's going to be airing tonight on ESPN. Is it a 30 for 30 or something? Something along those lines. LeBron's Hollywood career has officially begun. It's the only reason he's with the Lakers right now. LeBron is thinking post-career. I mean, what is he, 33, 34 years old? It's nice. He can play in L.A. It's a nice story. He's going to He's going to put asses in seats. But I can tell you right now, LeBron James is definitely he is not as committed to basketball and winning as he was in previous years. And it's not his fault. It's that life usually gets in the way with players at this point in their career. He's got kids. He's got a family. Kids going to school out there. His wife. There's a lot more going on there than just, than him wanting to win basketball games now. But he's a Laker, and it should be very interesting to see how that unfolds tonight. That is for sure.